couple days ago, I had this experience. I believe it was Thursday night. This is the journal entry right after I came back into my body and sat up. Left body after lack of sleep, heavy chest, tingly feet and hands. So I've been trying to meditate after work recently. And as soon as I get into a theta and I start to drift off into a meditative state where I can leave my body or even take a nap, my hands and my feet start tingling and my heartbeat increases, and it like keeps me from being able to meditate or project. So I just thought throw that out. I was able to astral project at this point though. So I astral projected into the middle realm, testing light body physiology. What I mean by that is a lot of times when I'm out of body, when I'm in my astral body or light body, there is a difference. There's several bodies, but I just like to say this is my light body or my astral body because this is why. When I test the physiology of the light body, it seems to be the same exact blueprint as the astral body and the light body. So they both have these rotating plasma cones. So one of the things I was doing when I was testing my body in this physics of this dimension is I fly around always. And the way I do that is by putting my attention and tension on my heart center, and just you will it. It's as simple as that. I don't know if y'all remember the movie Hook, where they say, think happy thoughts to fly. It's literally that. It's pure intention of flying while focusing your brain, your mind, your attention onto your heart center. Like I always say, attention and tension work in tandem together. This is how duality works. Masculine, brain, feminine, heart. Masculine, brain, positive charge, electric, feminine, heart, negative charge, magnetic. So they are so essential. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. You probably already read all this shit by now. So anyway, one of the things I was doing was testing the physiology of my light body. I was putting my awareness in my hand onto my heart center to see what was there. And I felt it. I felt the spinning plasma cone rotating. I felt it. I waved my hand from my chest and I went up, up, up. I felt every chakra, every plasma cone tingling. It was like a little warm, radiating, fuzzy jet engine on the front and the back of my body. So all those memes and pictures you see, diagrams of the light body with the chakras lined up perfectly, the 7, the 8, the 9, and beyond, depending on how much you encapsulate and ascend and nest into, they're all there, spinning the front and the back of your spine and your endocrine system in a plasma cone, centripetal motion cone spinning, pulling in that fucking prana, tapping the 0 point and fucking flying, baby. Pulling in energy, putting out energy in tandem, breathing in and out with the creator. So I felt it. I felt the spinning plasma cones. Felt like a warm, fuzzy, warm fan. And yes, it did. It wasn't hot. It wasn't cold. It was just warm, baby. And that's the best part about being outside of body, is it's very euphoric and warm, very neutral. So I tested my hand chakras. I felt more spin on my fingers than on my palm. I felt little spinny vortexes, little plasma cones spinning on my fingertips. So I felt more spin than in my palm. So there seems to be more of a vortex spin on the fingertips as opposed to the palm area. I flew around, basically training wheels, test flight. So that's what I do most of the time out of body, is I just test the physics. I'm just learning to walk like a fucking baby. Because most of the time I'm going into this shit blind. I just want to learn on my own. So I went into an awkward situation in a building with a man and a woman. This is personal, but it was BDSM related. So a lot of times in the astral realm, I will play out my subconscious shit going on in my head. Whether it's sexuality, or that's the thing with the astral realm. It's that realm of desire, a lot of sexual stuff. So I'm not going to talk about it. It was personal. But, I don't know if these were real entities or if these were projections of my fourth dimensional subconscious mind into the astral, playing in my own little simulation. I'm not sure. And honestly, I don't care. So I had an altercation with a shadow dementor demon. The reason why I call them dementors is because they look exactly like that most of the time. In the Harry Potter version, the same shape of the body, the same color, everything. Very wispy, very ashy, ashen, igneous fucking dementor beings. So I've noticed a lot of times these things seem to attack you in the middle ground where you're in between your body and the astral realm. It's like when you're most vulnerable, like as if a car jacker would come up and get you as you're coming in and out of your car. You're still sitting down, you know what I mean? You're vulnerable. So they seem to do that. And it's called astral catalepsy. And a lot of times when they get you, that's what sleep paralysis is. So in the state of astral catalepsy, I broke out of it with pure will and attention and tension. And don't do what I do. I egg these beings on. Like I said, it's like a training ground. I want to, learn how to do stuff on my own. And it's not always positive what I do, but I learn from my mistakes. I'll tell you that. So I broke out of the catalepsy and I mocked this demon into direct confrontation in the shadow realm of the bedroom. And what I mean by shadow realm is it seemed to be a sub-realm of 3D or the astral, a mirror image of 3D. So it was just like my room and 3D, but very dimmed, very dark. And I've gone to this realm many times, and I call it the lower astral, and this is where I meet these beings most every time I encounter them. It looks like on the Lord of the Rings, where Frodo puts on the ring on that weather top when the Nazgul are attacking him. He puts on the ring, and then you can see the Nazgul's true form in that weird shadowy realm. That reminds me exactly what this realm is. And, art imitates life. So I began mocking him. And what I mean by mocking him, he was flying around my room in the walls. So it looked like a shadow flying clockwise to the right around my walls. Like he wouldn't come out of my walls. And it's like a shadow of Batman or some shit, but it was a dementor type being. It just had a real wispy body with a head on top. And this was definitely a male demon because I stared him face to face for several minutes. He ended up stopping in my wall, and I came up to him and I was like, come out and engage me. Come out. If you're such a predator, come out and face me. And he stopped and he stared me in the face, maybe a foot away from me, face to face. And this being had a very pointy face, very masculine shaped. And he started laughing at me with his head going back. Ho, 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 ho. Every time he laughed, his head would go back. It's very dramatic. And I started mocking him. I started laughing and throwing my head back. I just don't do this, by the way. I have a axe to grind, let's just say, with these beings. So he wouldn't come out of the wall and he kept flying around. And then we had that little stare down face to face and that mocking, laughing thing. So he wouldn't come out. So I went back into my body and I knew he was still around. I could feel it. I was out of the lower astral at this point. I was in 3D, straight 3D with my physical eyes open, perfectly lucid. It's perfectly lucid this whole time, by the way, this entire time. And that's when I began talking to him. That's when I began talking to him and I started preaching and I was saying things like in a nutshell, you think you're so powerful, you think you're such a predator, when in actuality you're a fiend, you're dependent on the energy of others because you have lost your own connection to source through the heart field, that you've lost your connection to 0 point to tap into the source energy. So now you must go around like a fly on shit to get your sustenance. I was saying stuff like this. I was being passive aggressive. I shouldn't have done it. But I went from being more of a shit talker to empathy. I started, and by the way, at the finish of every sentence, massive chills. My whole body. It was mostly my backside. I'm talking about chills you can't even comprehend until you experience it yourself. So I went from more of an assholey, passive aggressive, mocking kind of preach to a more empathetic. And I started calling him brother. And I started saying, return to the light. There's no better glory and honor, and bliss than service to others. And you need to reincarnate and try again and neutralize your karma. I was saying stuff like that. And like I said, with the end of every sentence, massive fucking chills all over my body. And this happens every time I talk to them after an engagement. But yeah, that's just my Thursday night, man. I mean, it happens. This shit happens all the time. And I'm just so glad that I have y'all to listen to this and I have a way to vent this, because the forest isn't always, or if the forest in music doesn't always cut it. We need each other. We need human connection, no matter how antisocial you are. So I'm really grateful for all of you, and I love you, and I hope you have a fucking wonderful weekend. And I hope this helps somebody. All right? Stay up.